First hour, Algebra 2. It's Mr. Clendenin. This should be Tuesday, the 7th of April. Hope everybody's doing okay, feeling good. Reach out if you think there was anything I can do for you. Okay, today we're gonna look at something from geometry. Combine our geometry with what we've been doing with SOHCAHTOA and our trigonometry. We're going to look at something called an angle of elevation. And basically, an angle of elevation is any time you have an upward looking angle. Okay, that's an angle of elevation, like you are elevating. Now, if we look at our first problem here, our information we're given, you are standing 75 feet from the base of the Mercantile Building in St. Louis. You estimate that the angle of elevation to the top of the building is 80 degrees. Then I've got two questions that we're going to work off of that bit of information. The first question here at the bottom says, what is the approximate height of the building? Question number 2 is, if your friend is at the top of the building, what is the distance between you and your friend? So we're going to see if we can figure out both of those. So the first thing we'll do is let's take our information that we have up here and let's draw ourselves a picture. Okay. Now, so here's mine. So here's my building. Here's all the windows in the building. Here's the door. There's the building. And here we are standing down here and we're looking up at the top of the building. So that angle right there then would be an angle of elevation. And that is where our 80 degrees goes. And then the base of the building would be right here. So what do we know? How far away from that base of that building are we? We're 75 feet away. So you notice we're going to assume that they built this building correctly, and they built it straight up out of the ground. It's not the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So what that would mean is we do have a 90-degree angle in there. So from this little drawing here, we can lay out this triangle right here. Okay. And then we can still go look at our questions and see, well, what are we supposed to find? It says, what is the approximate height of the building? Well, the height of the building would be right there. That's that side right there, that other leg. Now we would simply say, well, what do we have? We have the opposite side of our 80 and we have the adjacent side to our 80. So that's a tangent. We would say the tangent of 80 equals the opposite side x over the adjacent side 75. Because remember, TOA. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Slap that over top of 1 and do our cross multiplying. So we figure out what we need to punch in our calculator. And we figure out tangent, or 75 times the tangent of 80 degrees. And that tells me that the building is 425.3 feet tall. 425 foot tall building, 0.3. Okay. Now question number 2 says, if one of your friends is at the top of the building, so let's draw them in there. So here's your friend up here at the top of the building. What is the distance between you and your friend? Well, the distance would be that distance right there, which would actually be through the air. That would be the straight line. Anytime you talk distance, you're talking about a straight line between two things. So the straight line between you and your friends is through the air there, which also coincides with the hypotenuse. Okay, so the hypotenuse. So now for this second question, we'll just redraw my triangle so it's not so crowded. There's what we had, 75 feet from the base of the building, 80-foot angle of elevation. You would be down here, your friend would be up top. How far apart are you? It would be right there, which is the hypotenuse. So now you're dealing with adjacent and hypotenuse. What is adjacent and hypotenuse? What uses adjacent and hypotenuse? The cosine. So now we would say the cosine of 80 degrees equals our adjacent 75 over our hypotenuse x. Put this over top of 1, cross multiply. I'm going to come up here to the top. It would be x times the cosine of 80 equals 75. And then we would have to divide by the cosine of 80. So there's what we're going to type in our calculator. 75 divided by the cosine of 80. And I get that you and your friend are 431.9 feet apart. Okay. So the building is 425 feet tall, and you and your friend are 431.9 feet apart. And just realize that distance between you and your friend is the hypotenuse, so that's why that answer is bigger. Okay. So that's using an angle of elevation. So today you have to kind of draw your own little picture on your homework and figure out what what information you have about your right triangle, like we did right here, and then go from there. Okay. All right, I'm gonna let you get to it.